Hello everyone, this is Rig. Welcome to an episode discussing the partition of undivided India into India and Pakistan. We will understand the events which led to this partition. We will discuss the demands, the rejections, and also the controversies leading to this event. And as usual, please carry a notebook when you will watch this video so that you can note down the important points. Even though this video is tailored according to the syllabus of ISC board, still anyone interested in this topic, anyone if you need this topic, then please watch this video until the very end, because the end portion of this video contains the questions and their answers which will be useful to you not only for your exams but it will help you to understand the topic better. So let's begin. Road to partition. In order to understand the situation of partition, we need to understand the events which led to the event. So, starting with the Wavell Plan of 1945. What was there in the Wavell Plan? Who was Wavell and what happened in 1945? So background. In 1945, after the end of Second World War, the global political landscape changed significantly. America and Russia emerged as superpowers. The Britain's dominance weakened. War marked the decline of imperialism and rise of neo-colonialism. So by 1945, the Second World War had ended, and end of Second World War means the end of British imperialism. With the end of British imperialism, two new powers came into the world politics, which are America and Russia. So Britain was not powerful enough to control to control the colonies like India anymore. Hence, what marked the decline of imperialism and there was rise of neo-colonialism. Imperialism means the motivation to expand one's boundaries, and neo-colonialism means controlling the world, or rather trying to control the world with the help of economic policies. So by this time imperialism declined and world saw a new form of dominance with the help of neo-colonialism, which were mainly being practiced by America and Russia. So, what was the political situation in India? By this time, Britain had lost its former power and was unwilling to continue its rule in India. Indian soldiers were highly influenced by nationalist movements and wanted to return home. The trial of INA members led to nationwide unrest and the Royal Indian Navy revolted. So, three things were going on. First is that Britain had lost its former power and it did not have the means to continue its rule in India. Secondly, in World War, we know there were a large number of Indian soldiers who participated. So they were hearing about the nationalist movements which were growing in India, and so they wanted to return home. And also the trial of INA members, INA formed by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, were being punished and they were held under trial, which led to nationwide unrest. And so the Royal Indian Navy, Indian soldiers which were under the British Empire, revolted to protest against the trial of INA members. So this was the political situation of India. Proposal by Viceroy Wavell. On 24th June 1945, Viceroy Archibald Wavell invited Indian political leaders to Shimla to discuss the formation of Viceroy's new council. He proposed that all members would be Indians except the Governor General and the Commander in Chief. So the viceroy at that point of time was Lord Wavell. He invited all the Indian political leaders in a place called Shimla, and there A formation of new Viceroy's Council will be discussed, and all the members in that council will be Indians except for the Governor General and head of the army, that is, Commander in Chief. Failure of the plan. Muhammad Ali Jinnah demanded exclusive rights to nominate all Muslim members in the council and insisted on Pakistan. Congress rejected this as it went against India's national character. Shimla conference failed and no resolution was reached. So Muhammad Ali Jinnah's exclusive demand was the formation of a Muslim state called Pakistan. And so he rejected this Wavell plan, and with his proposal being in forefront, the Congress rejected Muhammad Ali Jinnah's demand also. And so no resolution was reached in the Shimla plan or the Shimla conference. Aftermath. Wavell announced that the British government would resume talks with political parties for setting up a constitution making body. However, political deadlock continued. So Wavell finally announced that we will start again talking with the Indian politicians in order to make a body where members will decide how the new constitution of independent India will be. And so the political deadlock continued with no final resolution. The next main thing that happened is the Cabinet Mission Plan of 1946. Background. In July 1945, the Labour Party, led by Prime Minister Clement Attlee, came to power in Britain. To resolve Indian political deadlock, the British government sent a mission known as the Cabinet Mission. So there was a new power regime in Britain in the election of July 1945. So Clement Attlee from the Labour Party became the new prime minister, and he wanted to solve this Indian situation as soon as possible. So the British government sent a mission to India known as the Cabinet Mission. Who were the members of the cabinet mission? The cabinet mission consisted of Pethick Lawrence, Stafford Cripps. You must have known about about this person, Stafford Cripps. He before also came to India and led the Cripps mission. And A.V. Alexander. Their objective was to facilitate peaceful transfer of power to India and hold discussions with Congress, Muslim League, and other political parties. So they wanted to transfer the power to the people of India, and whole process of transfer should be very peaceful. So these people came to India in order to hold discussions with Congress, Muslim League, and other political parties. Proposals of the mission. What was their objective? The mission proposed that an Indian federation comprising British India and native states, the center would control defense, foreign affairs, and communications, while all other subjects would remain with provincial legislatures. So you must know this, that India was divided into many provinces, and India for now means undivided India. So all those provincial legislatures will have power over every part of Indian subcontinent, or they will have power over every subjects except the most important ones like defense, foreign affairs, and communications. So these three departments will still be under control of the Britishers, while all other things, all other powers will be under the provincial legislatures. That was the cabinet mission plan. Provincial grouping. The provinces were divided into three groups. So all the provinces were under three groups. What were those groups? Group A, Hindu majority provinces, Madras, central provinces, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and Orissa. So the Britishers divided India on the basis of religion. Hence, Group A had Hindu majority provinces. Then there was Group B, which undoubtedly had Muslim majority provinces like Punjab, Northwest Frontier Province, which is also called NWFP, and Baluchistan and also Sindh. So these were the Muslim majority provinces which was grouped together. Group C had Bengal and Assam because here the population of Hindus and Muslims were almost on same ratio. So opt out clause. Each group had the right to opt out of federal union after the election of its legislative council. So each group, if they wanted, they could stay with the Indian Union or they could go out and form a different country. So this was a meaningless clause which aimed to create more problems. Electoral system. The constitution making body would have representatives from three main communities: general, Muslims, and Sikhs. So, all the people from these three communities will be there. And keep in mind, there was no quota for the Hindus. General included all the people, then special quotas were there for Muslims, and special quotas were there for Sikhs. So, these three kinds of representatives will be there in the constitution making body. So elections were to be held using proportional representation through single transferable vote system. So elections were to be held and a constitutional making body would be formed in which three kinds of representatives will be there: general, Muslims, and Sikhs. Aftermath. The cabinet mission plan failed as no final agreement was reached. The British government continued discussion with Indian leaders on an interim government and future constitution making body. So there was no final agreement once again, and everything was again in confusion. Rejection of the Pakistan demand. So Muslim League demanded of a separate Muslim state called Pakistan. However, that demand was rejected. So background: Muhammad Ali Jinnah formally demanded the creation of Pakistan based on two nation theory. However, Indian National Congress opposed the idea, rejecting the communal division of India. So Muhammad Ali Jinnah demanded the creation of Pakistan, and that was based on the two nation theory. However, Indian National Congress never supported this. So cabinet missions rejection. The cabinet mission that came to India, they also rejected this demand for Pakistan. The cabinet mission rejected the demand for Pakistan because of the following reasons. Now we will see why was the demand for Pakistan rejected. Demographic complexity. A separate Pakistan would include large number of non-Muslims in Bengal and Assam, making its creation impractical. So, in India, there was never an area which had only Muslims, or there was never an area which had only Hindus. It was there, only Hindu area was there thousands of years ago in the ancient period, but after the advent of Islam in the Indian subcontinent, we did not have separate areas. So, even though Muslims were majority in the northwestern part and in the eastern part, still in those majority areas in between we had Hindu villages. Therefore it will be difficult to create a separate state of Pakistan when there were large number of non Muslims in between the majority Muslims of areas like Bengal and Assam. Communal self determination. If Muslim League was granted Pakistan, then Hindus in West Bengal would demand a separate Hindu majority Bengal, including Calcutta. Similarly, Sikhs would demand Ambala and Jalandhar divisions. So, if a separate state is given on the basis of religion, then it would mean that all religion could claim as part of territory for their own. So, if Muslim League was granted Pakistan, then the Hindus in West Bengal will demand a separate Hindu state with Calcutta as its capital, and the Sikhs would demand a separate Sikh state where they are in majority, like Ambala and Jalandhar. So this was a complex situation, because if we fulfill the demand of the Muslims, then we will have to fulfill the demand of other religious communities also. Economic and administrative issues. Partitioning Bengal and Punjab would disrupt regional ties and create severe economic and governance challenges. So, partitioning a major state which was together for thousands of years means economic loss and administrative challenges. Many people are there who work in some area and live in some other area, whose farmlands are there, like 20 kilometers away from their houses. So if partition is done, probably your farms will fall, your agricultural earning areas will fall in another country, and your house will fall in another country. So how to manage all those things? And this actually happened in Bengal. There are many situations where a house was even divided into two parts. So one brother's house fell in Pakistan, in East Pakistan, and one brother's house fell in India. So like these administrative challenges happened. Geographical challenge. The two halves proposed Pakistan, like the East Pakistan and West Pakistan, would be separated by 700 miles, making it geographically unviable, leading to administrative difficulties. So one part of Pakistan will be West Pakistan, which will be in the northwestern part of Indian subcontinent, and another part will be in east. So the eastern area will be almost surrounded by India on all sides, and the eastern part of Western Pakistan division will also be surrounded by India. So these two parts of Pakistan, East and West Pakistan, will be separated by 700 miles with India in between. So how will this be possible? So there will be geographical challenges, and this later happened because it was difficult for both the parts of Pakistan to run together. So one part was being dominated by the other part, and so the East Pakistan, the area of East Pakistan, demanded independence, and right now we have the country of Bangladesh as a result. Outcome. The rejection of Pakistan by the cabinet mission led to increased tensions between Muslim League and Congress, pushing India closer to partition in 1947. So, with the rejection of the demand of Muslim League, there was tension between Muslim League and Congress, and thus that tension increased, leading to eventual partition in 1947. Now, reaction against the cabinet mission. So cabinet mission basically failed, and so what was the reaction of the Indians against the cabinet mission? Congress rejection. The Congress opposed the cabinet mission plan due to the controversy over grouping of provinces. They did not accept the Congress Muslim League parity principle in the interim government. So in the interim government means a temporary government which will handle all kinds of activities until a real government is elected. So in the interim government, Congress demanded more power because they are more in number, and so Muslim League and Congress cannot be placed on equal footing. And also Congress rejected the controversy of grouping provinces together where religion was the parameter. So Britishers always wanted the policy of divide and rule, and so Congress did not want that. That was the reaction of Congress and the reason why Congress rejected. Congress interpretation. Congress interpreted the grouping of provinces as optional, while Muslim League saw it as mandatory. This difference in interpretation created further conflicts. So Congress thought that the grouping of provinces is no more needed because provinces should not be grouped on the basis of religion. If administrative need was the reason behind the grouping of provinces, then they could have grouped the provinces according to language. They could have grouped the provinces according to geography. They could have grouped the provinces according to culture. So, why take religion as the parameter of grouping provinces? That was the logical thinking of the Congress. However, Muslim League saw it as mandatory because the only thing they ever wanted was separate rights for the Muslims. They did not care about governance, they did not care about independence. Their only goal was to get something for the Muslims. Muslims should get special preference. That was the only goal of Muslim League. This difference in interpretation created further conflicts. Muslim League's acceptance. The Muslim League accepted the plan, viewing it as a tactical recognition of their demand for Pakistan. However, they later withdrew the support when conflicts arose. So Muslim League at first accepted the plan because they loved the policy of grouping of provinces on the basis of religion. So they thought it as the first step towards creating Pakistan. So at first they accepted. However, later the support from the cabinet mission was withdrawn by the Muslim League. Six opposition in Punjab. So the six opposed Punjab's inclusion in Group B, which contained other Muslim majority states. They feared being dominated by the Muslim League. So Punjab was placed under the Muslim majority provinces. However, Punjab had a large number of Sikh population. These Sikh people did not like to be dominated by the Muslim. And it is true that later on the Pakistan half of Punjab does not have any Sikh. All their population decreased. So their fear eventually proved to be true today when we see that Pakistan, the area of Pakistan, almost does not have any minority religion. So Sikhs opposed the inclusion of Punjab in Group B, which had maximum Muslim majority provinces. Division in the depressed classes. The depressed classes were divided on their stance. Depressed classes means the less fortunate classes of Indian people. So there were two groups of depressed classes. One group was led by Babu Jagjivan Ram, which supported the Congress, and the other group was led by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who opposed the proposal as only one seat was allocated to the depressed class in the interim government. So, in the interim government, that is temporary government until a real government is formed, in that government, only one seat was allocated to depressed classes. However, B.R. Ambedkar wanted seats on the basis of population. The percentage of population of the depressed classes demanded more than one seat. So that was the argument provided by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So, what was the final outcome? Despite objections, Congress agreed to participate in Constituent Assembly for framing India's constitution. However, tensions between Congress and Muslim League continued to escalate. Now, you may remember that in 1939, all the Congress ministries resigned, and that was a tactical blunder because if you get angry on the Britishers and resign from the government, then you are no way having an opinion in the government. So it's better to stay in the government and protest. So this time, even though the Congress did not agree to the plans of cabinet mission, still they decided to stay in the governance structure so that they could improve the situation from within. Direct action by Muslim League and the communal riots. Background. In the July 1946 elections of the Constituent Assembly, Congress secured an overwhelming majority. Muhammad Ali Jinnah termed this as brute force, fearing that power transfer would favor the majority community. So in 1946 election, as expected, Congress won the large number of seats, not only because the Hindus voted in support of Congress, but many Muslims who were not orthodox like Muhammad Ali Jinnah or the Muslim League leaders, they wanted India to stay undivided. Many Muslims were there for of such opinion, and they also voted in support of Congress. And so Muhammad Ali Jinnah, as expected, became angry and called this to be a brute force. And so he feared that the transfer of power, in the process of this transfer, the majority will get maximum powers. Muslim League's response. The Viceroy invited Congress to form the interim government, leading to Muslim League's refusal to participate. The League withdrew its acceptance from the Cabinet Mission Plan and called for direct action to achieve Pakistan. So, Viceroy invited both Congress and Muslim League. Then Muslim League refused. And when Muslim League refused, the Viceroy actually said that, okay, let Congress come, let Muslim League refuse. I don't have any problem. Then Muslim League felt that, no, I am not getting my equal rights. So some action needs to be taken. And that action was one of the greatest communal tragedies in history of India. And we call it as direct action to achieve Pakistan. Now, what was direct action? Direct Action Day was declared on 16th August 1946. The League under Jinnah declared August 16, 1946 as the Direct Action Day, advocating for Pakistan by any means necessary, including unconstitutional methods. The slogan, "We shall have Pakistan by force," fueled mass unrest. So, what did Muslim League do? It declared that we will take Pakistan anyhow, and for that, if we need to resort to violence, we will even do that. We don't care about authority anymore. All the Muslims in India should come to the streets to demand for Pakistan. So that was the agenda and action taken by the Muslim League. What was the result? The result was communal riots. The worst violence erupted in Calcutta, where Muslim League government of Bengal failed to maintain order. So in Bengal there was a Muslim League government. However, Bengal had almost half of Hindu population. So the Muslim League government of Bengal supported Bengal going into the province of Pakistan, Bengal going into the country of Pakistan. So the places of Bengal where there was Hindu majority, they were attacked by the Muslim. All the Hindus in Bengal, especially in Calcutta, they were attacked by the government of Muslim League, and many could not defend themselves. This is called the Great Calcutta Killings. So many Hindus died on the streets of Bengal. Later on, a person named Gopal Patha, who was uh, owner of a butcher shop, he formed an alliance of the Hindus and somehow defended the remaining Hindus. That is the only reason we still see Hindus in Calcutta today, or else that day every Hindus in Calcutta would have been wiped off. However, unfortunately, Gopal Patha is not given any recognition by the present government. Anyways, let's move on. Riots soon spread to Noakhali in East Bengal, Bihar, Garmukteshwar in UP, and Punjab. In March 1947, both Hindus and Muslims suffered heavy casualties. So it was started because the Muslims attacked the Hindus on the inspiration of Muhammad Ali Jinnah. However, the Hindus also defended because and because the Hindus were in majority, their defense also resulted in Muslim casualties. So Hindus, Muslims both suffered because of a drastic and tragic decision by Muhammad Ali Jinnah and the Muslim League. Outcome: communal tensions escalated, reinforcing the demand for Pakistan, eventually leading to partition of India in 1947. Interim government of 1946 and at least declaration in 1947. Establishment of interim government. After the Muslim League refused to join, Viceroy Wavell invited Jawaharlal Nehru and other Congress leaders to take office in Viceroy's Executive Council on 2nd September 1946. So Muslim League refused to join. So Viceroy Lord Wavell invited Jawaharlal Nehru and other Congress leaders to participate in Viceroy's Executive Council. Muslim League's response: Jinnah rejected the offer of 5 out of 14 seats because he opposed the appointment of a non League Muslim even from Congress quota. So Jinnah said that I will not accept this because I will not accept 5 out of 14 seats, even though my population is less, but still I want equal number of seats. That was the proposal given by the Muslim League. The Muslim League declared 2nd September as a day of mourning, displaying black flags nationwide. So the Muslim League declared 2nd September the day of formation of interim government, the day when Jawaharlal Nehru joined the Viceroy's Executive Council. Muslim League, even though invited, they themselves refused to join, and then they accused of being partial. So that was a foolish decision, the day of mourning, when black flags were displayed by the Muslim League nationwide. Participation in the government. So then, despite initial refusal, Jinnah later again agreed to join. So this person, Jinnah, did not have any stability. Once he is saying that I will not join, then the British government is saying okay. Then Jinnah said, "How dare you not take me into your government?" Then, then again he displayed black flags, and after that again he wants to join. So there is no stability. The only stability which Jinnah had was demand for Pakistan. And this frustrated the Congress leaders. On June 14, 1947, Sardar Patel stated that Pakistan was already functioning within Punjab, Bengal, and even inside the interim government. So Jinnah joined the interim government, but in everything he opposed the Congress. And also the Muslims in Bengal and Punjab, they were also running according to the wishes of Jinnah. They were disintegrating themselves from other communities. The Muslims were living a separate life, even inside the interim government, where Jinnah opposed every decision of Congress. So Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, with great sadness, pointed this out, that Pakistan, even though it is not created, it is actually running ideologically in our country. At least declaration. So, British Prime Minister Clement Attlee announced in Parliament that Britain would transfer power to Indians by June 1948. Following this, Lord Mountbatten replaced Wavell as Viceroy to oversee the final transition. So, British Prime Minister Clement Attlee declared the fact that by June 1948, Britishers are going to leave India, and every affairs of the Indian government will be dealt by the Indians. And with this, Lord Mountbatten was appointed as the new viceroy, and he was appointed as a specialist to see that power transition happens smoothly. Now, what is Mountbatten Plan? What are the features of Mountbatten Plan? Background: Lord Lewis Mountbatten took charge as Viceroy of India in March 1947. He initiated discussions with Congress and the Muslim League for the peaceful transfer of power. Final outcome was partition of India and creation of Pakistan. So Lord Mountbatten came to India as the Viceroy. In the last part of British rule, he was the Viceroy, and he is the one who saw to it that India is perfectly divided into India and Pakistan. Partition of India. The plan proposed that India will be partitioned, a new state of Pakistan would be formed alongside independent India. So, India was to be divided into two parts, India and Pakistan. That was the final decision taken by Lord Mountbatten. Formation of Pakistan, which part will be there in Pakistan? So, Pakistan would include Sindh, Baluchistan, Northwest Frontier Province, West Punjab and East Bengal. So Punjab and Bengal will be divided again, and western part of Punjab will go inside Pakistan. Eastern part of Bengal will go inside Pakistan because these were Muslim majority areas, provided their legislative assemblies voted in favor of Pakistan. Formation of Indian Dominion. The remaining territories. So Pakistan has been given all the special demands, and whatever is left out, they will come to India. So remaining territories, including East Punjab, West Bengal, would remain as a part of India. That was the decision taken by Mountbatten. Boundary Commission to set up a boundary in case of partition of Punjab and Bengal, a boundary commission would be set up to demarcate borders between India and Pakistan. So there will be a specialized group of people who will demarcate the borders between India and Pakistan. Referendum in Northwest and Assam. An opinion poll was conducted in Northwest Frontier Province and Sylhet district of Assam to decide their inclusion in India and Pakistan, and eventually both opined in favor of Pakistan. So these portions are there in Pakistan. Native states choice. The native states or the princely states which were still considered independent was given the option to join India or Pakistan or remain independent. So if they want, they can remain independent also. So such was the brilliant plan of Mountbatten, where India will be a torn province. India will be a torn country where on two sides there will be Muslim majority Pakistan, and inside India also there will be several fragmented princely state who may remain independent. Since decision, the Legislative Assembly of Sindh was granted autonomy to decide whether to join India or Pakistan. So Sindh will have to decide whether they want to join India or Pakistan, and they decided in favor of Pakistan also. Transfer of power timeline. All these things will be completed by British government, and the transfer of power will happen before 15th August 1947, advancing the deadline earlier than June 1948. So earlier, Clement Attlee had declared that by June 1948 transfer of power should be done, but Mountbatten anticipated the date and put it in 15th August 1947. Indian Independence Act and the execution of Mountbatten Plan. So, what was Indian Independence Act and how was the Mountbatten Plan executed? Background: Mountbatten Plan aimed at resolving the political deadlock between Congress and Muslim League by partitioning India and Pakistan. So, according to Mountbatten Plan, the only solution was to partition India and Pakistan. Congress opposed giving one third of India to the League, but eventually agreed to a smaller Pakistan to uphold unity. So Congress at first opposed it, but eventually agreed. Passing of the Indian Independence Act. Now, the final act of independence is happening after 190 years of British colonialism. The Indian Independence Bill was passed in the British Parliament on 1st July 1947. It received royal assent on 18th July 1947. So everything was done legally in the British Parliament, and all of them agreed to decide the fate of India. And the people who agreed to decide the fate of India had no Indians among them. The act declared that India would be partitioned into two independent dominions, India and Pakistan, on 14th and 15th August of 1947. Execution of Mountbatten Plan. The British authorities finalized the details of partition process. So all the details, minute details of partition was to be finalized by the British authorities. Minority members of Bengal and Punjab assemblies were granted the right to meet separately and decide their future. So in Bengal and Punjab assemblies, there were many non-Muslims. So they were granted the permission to meet separately and decide what they will do. Boundary Commission was led by British lawyer Radcliffe, demarcated the borders of India and Pakistan, and he did this by sitting on London, which did not have anything to do with India. It is said that Radcliffe never came to India. However, he partitioned India based on his knowledge about India. So you can understand how foolish this decision was. And while deciding the boundary, he felt that Pakistan is not getting any major city. So he gave the city of Lahore to Pakistan, even though Lahore had a lot of Hindu population. And as a result, all the Hindus of Lahore were either killed or converted. And today we have no Hindu population, almost no Hindu population in Lahore. So, a plebiscite in Sylhet, Assam resulted in district joining East Pakistan. So, a voting system was held in Sylhet district of Assam, and Sylhet joined East Pakistan, and now Sylhet is in Bangladesh. Hindus and Sikhs in Punjab and Bengal strongly resented the loss of Lahore, Gurudaspur, Calcutta, and Chittagong Hill tracts. So, all these places were eventually given to Pakistan, were at first initially given to Pakistan. Sorry, not eventually, initially given to Pakistan. Calcutta, many of you don't know this, but it was decided that West Bengal part will also be under Pakistan. However, few leaders like Shama Prasad Mukherjee, they protested a lot against this, and so West Bengal, especially the Murshidabad district, this stayed in India, or else these would have also gone to Pakistan. Many people don't know about this, but Shama Prasad Mukherjee played a major role in the inclusion of West Bengal in India, or else West Bengal would have been a part of Pakistan, especially the district of Murshidabad. So all these areas protested. Chittagong Hills did not come to India, it went to Pakistan. Lahore went to Pakistan. Calcutta and Gurdaspur stayed in India because of people like Syama Prasad Mukherjee. So final outcome with these events, the partition of India was completed. One of the most tragic events in the history of Indian subcontinent is the partition of India, because of which we are still suffering today even after 70, more than 70 years of independence. So this is how it happened, because of the foolishness of British government and the inability to have a stern hand among the Indian leaders. Why Congress accepted the partition? Now, why did Congress accept this decision by the British government? Failure to integrate Muslim masses. Congress had failed over the years to bring the Muslim masses into nationalist mainstream. By 1946, it became evident that Muslim support was behind the demand for Pakistan. Even though not all Muslims, but majority of Muslims wanted Pakistan. And Congress, despite uh, wanting a lot to integrate the Muslims into mainstream politics, but still the Muslims wanted their religion to get more preference than their country. So those Muslims are there in Pakistan and Bangladesh presently, because Bangladesh was East Pakistan before. However, the secular Muslims who wanted to stay in India, they are still in India, and they are happily living with the majority of Hindu population. Threat of civil war. The Muslim League's direct action call on 16th August 1946 led to widespread communal violence. We have already discussed this, forcing Congress leaders to consider partition as lesser evil than all out civil war. So, Congress leaders reached a conclusion that partition is better than civil war. Breakdown of the interim government. Due to non cooperation from Muslim League ministers, the interim government collapsed. Congress leaders believed only an immediate transfer of power could prevent further violence. So, in interim government, the Muslim League participated, but whatever the Congress said, they opposed to the interim to that decision. Hence, as marked by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, that even though Pakistan was not created, but still Pakistan was already running inside interim government. Role of Liaquat Ali Khan. The constant interference of Liaquat Ali Khan, the Muslim League's finance minister, created administrative chaos, making governance impossible. So he was the finance minister from Muslim League, and he created every possible problems so that governance becomes impossible. Balkanization fear. An alternative to Pakistan was federation with a weak center, which Congress opposed. They preferred a smaller, strong India over a divided and weak federation. So, if Pakistan would have been a state of India, then governance would have been very difficult because they would have opposed every decision of independent India. So, a smaller India but a strong India was preferable more than a weak federation of united India. British decision. The British government's decision to transfer power quickly left Congress with no alternative but to accept partition to maintain stability. So the Britishers wanted to transfer the power as soon as possible, so there was no time to make the Muslims of India understand that we can stay united. Hence, the Congress leaders had to accept the decision of partition. Role of the British government in partition. We all know this, but still let us discuss a summary of the role that British government played in partition. Controversial partition. The partition of India was highly controversial decision leading to widespread tension and violence. Critics accused Viceroy Lord Mountbatten of being hasty and favoring India in the partition process. So it was accused that Lord Mountbatten is doing everything very fast, and that worsened the situation, and it was a very controversial decision. Premature independence. The British declared independence for India and Pakistan before defining borders, leaving it to the new governments to manage the chaotic population transfer. And this population transfer was a very hectic process. It could not be completed, and because of that still there is a lot of confusions within the Indian people, especially in the border areas, and there was huge scale of violence during the partition. Law and order breakdown. Massive migrations led to large scale massacres on both sides. Many Hindus were killed in the areas of Pakistan, and many Muslims were killed in the areas of India. So, law and order collapsed, and millions faced brutal violence. So, many people faced a lot of violence. If you read Khuswant Singh's writing, A Train to Pakistan, then you will understand what kind of violence erupted in the border areas during partition. So it is not at all true that we got independence with the help of non-violence. Independence itself was born out of violence. So British strategy. Some argue that British quickly decided to leave India to avoid involvement in a civil war. Others believe they deliberately prolonged the process, worsening communal tensions. So it is an argument provided by the critics that Britishers wanted to leave India because they did not want to face the violence because of communities or the civil war because of communal tensions. They did not want to face this, hence they left India anyhow. Mountbatten's role. Lord Mountbatten realized early that partition was inevitable. He prioritized a quick British exit, even if it meant bloodshed. Conservative elements in Britain. Many in Britain's ruling elite believed loss of India would weaken the British Empire, leading to Britain's decline as a global power. So that was the role of British government in partition. And now we will discuss the questions and their answers, which will help you to understand this chapter in a much better way. In which year was the Cabinet Mission Plan announced? The Cabinet Mission Plan was announced on 16th May 1946. It was sent by the British government to negotiate the transfer of power. The mission aimed to preserve Indian unity while accommodating Muslim League demands. It failed due to differences between the Congress and Muslim League. Which British Prime Minister sent the cabinet mission to India? Prime Minister Clement Attlee sent the cabinet mission to India. Attlee was from the Labour Party and sought a peaceful transition. His government wanted to ensure a smooth transfer of power. The mission was seen as a last attempt to avoid partition. Who were the members of the cabinet mission? The cabinet mission had three British members: Lord Pethick Lawrence, Secretary of State for India; Sir Stafford Cripps, President of the Board of Trade; A. V. Alexander, First Lord of the Admiralty. They aimed to negotiate an Indian federal structure. How many groups were proposed by the cabinet mission? The cabinet mission proposed three groups for provinces. Group A, Hindu majority provinces: Madras, UP, Bihar, Orissa, etc. Group B, Muslim majority provinces: Punjab, Sindh, Balochistan, Northwest Frontier Province. Group C, Bengal and Assam. These groups were meant to have autonomy but work under a union. Mention two defects of the cabinet mission plan. Ambiguity in grouping. Congress saw grouping as optional while Muslim League saw it as mandatory, leading to conflicts. Lack of enforcement. British failed to enforce plan effectively, leading to Muslim League's Direct Action Day, 16th August 1946. Mention two reasons given by the cabinet mission for rejecting Pakistan. Demographic complexity. A separate Pakistan would have a large Hindu population, making it impractical. Geographical distance. The proposed Pakistan would be divided into West and East Pakistan, 700 miles apart, making governance difficult. Which part of the proposal was refused by the Congress leaders? Congress rejected the grouping of provinces as they saw it as an attempt to divide India. They wanted a strong central government, not a weak federation. They opposed the idea that Muslim League would dominate Group B and C. This led to the failure of cabinet mission plan, eventually resulting in partition. When was the interim government with Nehru sworn in? The interim government with Jawaharlal Nehru as the head was sworn on 2nd September 1946. It was formed under the provisions of the Cabinet Mission Plan to facilitate a peaceful transition. Congress secured key positions, but Muslim League initially boycotted it. The League later joined on 26 October 1946, but tensions remained high. Why did the Muslim League withdraw its acceptance of the Cabinet Mission Plan? The Muslim League withdrew its acceptance on 29th July 1946, declaring Direct Action Day. The League feared Congress would dominate the Constituent Assembly. It saw the grouping of provinces as mandatory, while Congress interpreted it as optional. Riots and communal tensions escalated, further deepening the divide. State one reason for the British government's decision to transfer power after the Second World War. After the Second World War, 1939 to 1945, Britain's economy was in decline, making it difficult to govern India. The British had faced immense financial and military strain during the war. Indian nationalist movements, including the Quit India Movement 1942, weakened British control. Growing international pressure, including from the USA and USSR, pushed British to decolonize. Which date was fixed for the Direct Action Day by the Muslim League? The Muslim League declared 16th August 1946 as Direct Action Day. It was called by Muhammad Ali Jinnah to demand Pakistan through non-constitutional means. Massive communal riots broke out in Calcutta, leading to thousands of deaths. Violence later spread to Noakhali, Bihar, Punjab, and other regions, worsening Hindu Muslim relations. What announcement was made by Attlee on 20th February 1947? British Prime Minister Clement Attlee announced on 20th February 1947 that British would leave India by June 1948. He stated that transfer of power would take place under a constitutional framework. He sent Lord Mountbatten as the new viceroy to oversee the process. This declaration accelerated the partition process as tensions between Congress and Muslim League increased. Mention two important proposals of the Mountbatten Plan of 1947. Partition of India. India would be divided into two independent nations, India and Pakistan. Princely states option. Princely states were given the choice to join India or Pakistan or remain independent. Which two areas were given the option of referendum to join India or Pakistan in the Mountbatten Plan? Northwest Frontier Province NWFP, a referendum was held and it joined Pakistan. Sylhet, Assam, a referendum was held and Sylhet joined East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. Why did the Boundary Commission get proposed in the Mountbatten Plan? The Boundary Commission was proposed to divide Punjab and Bengal. It was headed by Sir Cyril Radcliffe, a British lawyer. The commission aimed to create a fair division of land based on religious demographics. However, hasty decisions and lack of local understanding led to violence and mass displacement. Now we will discuss the answer writing strategies in 8 marks questions. The strategies include proper structure, introduction, main points, conclusion, balanced perspective, achievements and failures, data oriented approach, facts acts, and policies. Discuss the circumstances that led the British government to send the cabinet mission to India in 1946. What were the major recommendations? Circumstances leading to the cabinet mission 1946. World War II aftermath. British was financially weakened and unable to maintain colonial control. Growing Indian nationalism. The Quit India movement 1942 and INA trials 1945 to 46 had intensified nationalist sentiment. Congress Muslim League conflict. The Muslim League's demand for Pakistan and Congress's push for a united India created a political deadlock. Pressure from the British Labour government. Clement Attlee's government sought a peaceful transition of power. Unrest in India. Communal tensions and military revolts. Example Royal Indian Navy mutiny forced Britain to act. Continued. Major recommendations of the Cabinet Mission Plan. No partition, rejected Pakistan but allowed grouping of provinces. Federal structure. India had to have a weak central controlling defense, foreign affairs, and communications. Grouping of provinces. Provinces grouped into A. Hindu majority, B and C. Muslim majority with autonomy. Constituent Assembly proposed a 389 member assembly to draft India's constitution. Interim government. An interim government to be formed until independence. Right to opt out. Provinces could later reconsider their group membership. Give an account of the last months of the British rule in India from Attlee's speech of 20th February 1947 to Indian Independence Act 1947. Attlee's speech 20th February 1947. British Prime Minister Clement Attlee declared that Britain would leave India by June 1948, stated that British government had no intention of handing over power to a single party and wanted a constitutional solution. If Indian leaders failed to reach an agreement, Britain would transfer power to an authority of its choice. Lord Mountbatten was appointed as the new Viceroy of India to execute the withdrawal process. Appointment of Lord Mountbatten, March 1947. Lord Mountbatten replaced Lord Wavell as the last Viceroy of India. He was given full power to negotiate a settlement with Congress and the Muslim League. His primary goal was to ensure a peaceful British exit without worsening communal tensions. Continued. Mountbatten's decision on partition, June 1947. After consulting Indian leaders, Mountbatten realized that partition was unavoidable due to increasing Hindu Muslim tensions. The Congress and the Muslim League agreed to the division of India and Pakistan. Mountbatten presented the partition plan on 3rd June 1947, which was accepted by all major political parties. Indian Independence Act, 1st July 1947. The Indian Independence Bill was introduced in British Parliament on 1st July 1947. It was passed and received royal assent on 18 July 1947. The act declared that India and Pakistan would become independent dominions on 14th and 15th August 1947. Boundary Commission and Final Steps, July to August 1947. A boundary commission led by Cyril Radcliffe was set up to demarcate the borders between India and Pakistan. The final decision on boundary lines was delayed, leading to massive riots and migrations. On 14th August 1947, Pakistan was created, followed by India's independence on 15th August 1947. Why was Mountbatten sent to India? Explain the salient features of his plan. Reasons for sending Mountbatten: speeding up British withdrawal. Attlee's government wanted a quick and smooth transition of power. Handling communal violence. The Hindu Muslim riots had worsened and a peaceful resolution was needed. Finalizing partition. Mountbatten was tasked with executing the division of India and Pakistan. Maintaining British reputation. Britain wanted to ensure that its exit did not lead to total chaos. Avoiding civil war. The British feared a complete breakdown of law and order if partition was not handled carefully. Continued. Salient features of the Mountbatten Plan, June 1947. Partition of India. India would be divided into two independent nations, India and Pakistan. Transfer of power. Both dominions would gain independence on 14th and 15th August 1947, much earlier than Attlee's original deadline of June 1948. Boundary Commission. A boundary commission led by Sir Cyril Ratcliffe was set up to divide Punjab and Bengal. Princely states choice. Princely states were given the option to join India or Pakistan or remain independent. Most states, like Hyderabad and Junagadh, later faced military intervention for refusal to accede to India. Government of India Act 1935 to be the legal framework. Until new constitutions were drafted, both India and Pakistan would follow the Government of India Act of 1935. British troop withdrawal. British troops would leave India by mid 1948, but British officials would stay to assist their transition. So that was all about the road to partition. This video discussed all the aspects of the events that led to the eventual partition of India in 14th and 15th August of 1947. We have discussed the Wavell Plan, we have discussed the cabinet mission, we have discussed the direct action day by Muslim League, and eventually the Mountbatten's proposal and acceptance of Mountbatten's proposal through the Indian Independence Act. Hope you have liked the video. Hope this content was useful to you. Even though there are many who don't watch my videos, but still, for those of you who watch, I am highly thankful because you all know how important this is and how useful it will be to watch videos like this through my channel. So, thank you for your love and support.